Welcome to another episode of The Divorced Assholes.
Ayo!
We have another installment for you today, and I'm going to let Colleen introduce this one.
Hi guys, we're talking about the best... Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because it's kind of depressing. We're talking about some history here. The Titanic. And we're not just talking about the movie, although I will be bringing that up many times. And I'm referencing the 1997 movie, not the 1946 movie. I think it's 46. Maybe it was the 30s. Anyways.
That one was probably better.
It was more depressing, I think. And it was less accurate.
What?
Yeah.
How was that less accurate? That was like around the time.
So one thing about the 1997 movie by James Cameron that he got right was he brought in a lot of the actual circumstances and characters and brought them to life.
The actual characters.
Yes, and we will go over that. That's the part that you're
like that old bitch. She was really from the Titanic.
Which old bitch?
The only old
Rose?
Bitch.
So, okay, here's a common misconception. A lot of people have done research and they have found that there was a Jack, I can't remember what his last name.
Skellington.
No. Jack Dawson. Oh. So I think there was a Jack Dawson really on board. And there was a Rose, but her last name was different. However, these Jack and Rose
There's Hernandez.
Rose Hernandez?
Yeah.
DeWitt Decanter. No. Those two characters are fictional. But we will talk. Adam is going to
You just said one was real.
So they claim that it could have been based off of these names, but you have to understand that first of all,
how did they know they had sex?
No, just that their names were on the
Was the picture real?
No.
That's like the whole point of the movie.
No. So, okay, let's start there. The movie from 1997
sucks.
There were real life people that they pulled into the movie, right? Such as the unsinkable Molly Brown, John Jacob Astor, the richest man in the U.S. at the time. He died on the Titanic. And then the co-creators...
What was the first name?
John Jacob Astor.
What was the second one?
Of what?
The second name?
Jacob?
Never mind. Keep going.
I'm a little tipsy. Anyways, and Adam is going to actually read about some of the survivors and the famous people who died, who were actually featured in the Titanic. What I didn't mention, though, was, Macy's, the department store?
Mm-hmm.
So, Ida and, I don't remember her husband's name. In the movie, there's a couple that dies together on the bed. Do you remember that scene? Water's crashing in.
I actually haven't seen the movie. I've seen bits and parts of it.
I think I'm going to go throw up.
Good.
I can't believe you haven't seen it. That makes me so
Colleen has only seen it 1,000,000 times.
1,000,001.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie.
Anyways, I'll just
Could
say
not handle it.
It's so good.
It starts off, I'm just fucking depressed. Do not want to finish it.
Why are you depressed at the beginning?
Because it's a gay-ass movie about a boat. Who wants to see a movie about a boat?
Me.
Unless it's like Battleship. Now that brings in aliens and technology and shit.
Okay, wait. If Titanic had aliens and technology, would you like it?
Yes. If they were to add fucking gunships on the Titanic and they're fighting UFOs, that would be badass. That'd be one of my new favorite movies.
Okay, I've never considered that, but you know what? You have a point.
That's all you need. Add guns and aliens and it's a good movie.
That's so messed up. Okay, let's get into the history of the Titanic. So, I got this from Smithsonian.com. The Smithsonian channel, sorry. So, here's a little bit about the Titanic. So, first of all, it was built in Belfast, Ireland.
There's your problem.
Well, but one thing that's really cool...
I don't think the Irish are known for building very well.
I think they're known for being drunk.
Yeah.
So, but here's something that's really cool about the building of the Titanic. Let me find this. So,
what am I supposed to read?
I'll tell you when. You don't read yet.
She's got like 20 pages of
I do.
shit. I did not do any prep for this episode.
You didn't need to because I did all of it. And let me tell you, I was happy to do this research. I was overjoyed.
I was dreading this episode.
So, let's get into this. The RMS Titanic disappeared in 180 minutes after it struck the iceberg. But let's talk about
3 hours?
Yeah. But here's the thing: is the
That's kind of long.
Yeah, but also the Titanic
it went below sea level in 3 hours.
Yeah. So what happened was it hit the iceberg, and then it cracked into two. Mm-hmm. Now, when the Titanic was built, and this is what I'm getting into right now. First of all, it took millions of man hours. Think about that. Millions of man hours by these Irish workers. Millions of hours. Think about that. It sunk in 180 minutes, but it took millions of hours to build.
Well, come on. It probably would have taken a couple thousand from sober people.
They're spending millions of hours wrong. What are you doing? They're stumbling around, hammering things in. People coming in. No, you shouldn't put that there.
Oh, look at you, lassie. You're putting the hammer in the wrong hand. Don't use that for a dick.
That was the best Irish accent I've ever heard in my life. Anyways, so they shaped like acres of steel to form the hull. So not only was it a steel hull, but they double-breasted it. So that's what made Adam's happy about that part. Double-breasted. It was a double D breast. Yes. And that's...
chick I went on a date with had triple D.
That's not... What?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
I will be seeing her again.
She probably is going to have back problems, poor thing.
Oh, I don't give a fuck.
I bet they look amazing.
They did.
That's good. Anyways, back to the Titanic. So anyways, as I was saying, they used acres of steel to form the hull. And that's what made the ship be known as unsinkable, because it was so reinforced. And also, here's another thing. They installed 2 engines, not just one. Each the size of a 2-story building. So all of this coupled together, and like the architecture, is that the word?
Architectural?
Yeah. The way that it was created, everybody on the planet had the idea that it would be unsinkable. So that...
Yeah, you hear about that all the time.
You hear about it all the time. Like, everybody thought it was unsinkable.
It sounds very singable.
Listen, they were fucking idiots. I'm a woman.
You're calling a marine architect an idiot.
Yeah, and I shouldn't, because honestly, I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah, why don't you go build a boat?
I'm going to go build Noah's Ark. No, I'll just build...
Well, that would be easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Noah's Ark?
Because it's fake.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go build a fake boat. Did it. It's done.
You just have to write a story about you building it.
And I built an ark. Did it. But let's talk about a little bit more about the actual Titanic itself. So let me ask you a question, Adam.
Were there any atheists or Satanists on the boat?
I did not include that in my research. But you know what? I will look it up just for you.
What do you think?
Considering it was 1912, I think that...
Aleister Crowley was around at that time.
Okay. Who's that?
Like the head of the Satanist movement?
They use his name in Supernatural.
Oh my god, don't bring that fucking shit up.
I'm just saying, Aleister Crowley is the king of hell in Supernatural.
Well, yeah, he's a real person and he was a Satanist.
That makes me like the show even more.
You should.
I do, though. But, okay, let me ask you this, Adam. When you think of the Titanic, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Besides the movie, take the movie out of the equation, because I know what you're going to say.
Okay, I don't know, a fucking boat hitting the ice and then sinking.
Okay. Anything else?
No. There she blows.
What was that?
That's what they're saying. I do imagine, because there were people that survived.
Yes.
And how cold that water was.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit.
Yes.
There was kids that survived, right?
Yes. So, okay, let's get into that too.
Wait, why'd you ask me that question?
Because I'm just wondering what people, like, because I've been researching it since I was like 12. So I have...
Nerd alert.
Exactly.
Nerd alert.
Exactly. I remember finding... Dad bought me these books and they had like all these pictures of Titanic artifacts, and then I was like, I'm hooked.
Man, he was just setting you up for failure.
Sure. But let's talk about... So we talked about how the Titanic was built in Belfast. But let's talk about what it cost to build. Listen to this. So... The Titanic was a White Star Line steamship, so that's important to remember. White Star Line is the company that built the ship.
Oh, he's still around?
I don't think so. After this, I don't even know. I should have looked up their company, but...
Man, you are sucking at this research thing.
I'm trying. Anyways, we're going to forget Adam said that. So...
It's recorded.
Oh, yeah. But, so back then... Ireland was not independent. It was part of the British, what do you call that? Country? So it carried the British flag, so keep that in mind. So
you mean the ship itself was British?
So yeah, instead of being like, oh, it's Irish, it was known as British, and it left Northumberland, England, and it was bound to go to New York. So a lot of the people on board were Americans.
Irish people hate British people.
Yes, they do.
Is it because they took they took their millions of hours of lazy work away from them?
They're like, oh, you did all those millions hours of work? It's a British ship. You know what? That would piss me off too.
I wouldn't give a fuck.
But anyways.
It's a boat.
So she was, she was built with a reported cost of $7.5 million. Now remember, this is 1912.
Did you do the calculator thing? How much that would be in today's US dollars?
No. Adam will do that at some point, and we will post that along with information.
No, I won't.
I will. Okay, but let's get into the timeline of the Titanic, okay? Here we go. On April 10th, I'm sorry, I'm tipsy. On April 10th, 1912, the Titanic left for the first time from England. So it's called Maiden Voyage, right? It's destined for New York. On board were 2,227 people. And that's passengers and crew. Now, let's talk about how it's split up. So there's the first class passengers who, listen to this, to get a first class room, it cost $4,000. I did the calculations.
You did on that?
Yeah.
But not the bigger number?
I'm sorry, I was more interested in this.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, $4,000 for a room. Today would be $100,000.
Jesus.
Yeah. And let's talk about the...
And they all died.
They all died. No, actually, the first class passengers, this is the fucked up part of the Titanic.
They all lived.
100%, maybe it was 99% of the crew died. And that means like the people in the boiler rooms who were keeping the ship going, they all died.
All the people with free passes.
Yeah, there was like maybe a couple who escaped, and they only escaped because people on the lifeboats let them on. They were not allowed to get on the lifeboats when people were loading onto the lifeboats. Fucked up.
Wait, so they're just supposed to die?
Yeah, so, okay, so the crew was instructed, that's getting ahead of ourselves. But I'll just tell you this real quick. The crew is instructed to get women and children on the ships. But...
Boats.
I'm sorry, on the lifeboats. But who did they pick from first? First class. So as soon as they got all of the first class passengers onto the boats, then they moved on to second class, and then third class was last. The statistics of first class, second class, and then third class and crew, survival rates is disgusting. But we'll come to that later.
Capitalism.
Exactly. Anyways, so the first 2 days on the ship, it was a lot of like partying for the first class. They had like you should see, like, the menus. It was, like, the best food available in 1912. So, like...
Was that crackers and squid?
Yeah. That was their whole menu. Crackers and squids. No, but it was like literally everything was brand new, new silver. Everything was like 100% the best of the best. Even in second class, they have accounts of the passengers from second and third class stating how nice it was. They put so much time and effort into the ship. It was insane. Anyways, so the first 2 days on board, everybody was lulled into like a sense of calm because everybody on board was talking about how unsinkable the ship was, coupled with the fact that the weather was completely calm. Okay, there was no freaking...
So why were they even talking about this?
Because, so here's the thing. It was the biggest ship on the planet at the time. Biggest ship, plus it was a luxury liner. So it was like the best way to travel. Especially if you're like, these people are in England wanting to get to New York. Most of them are Americans trying to get back to America. And so if you're seen getting onto the Titanic, it's almost like a boost to your social status. Remember how we talked about how first class room was like $100,000 in today's money? Mm-hmm. It was a big deal. And this was the maiden voyage. So this was like, not only were the crew and then the architect and everybody involved, they were trying to brag about the ship, but they were trying to appear as though they were going faster than they were. So they were supposed to get into New York on the 15th, I believe. But as fast as they were going, they were going to get there early. So they were bragging about this. And of course they were writing letters, telegraphs from the ship to the U.S., bragging about how great the ship was. Exactly.
And they all died. I love arrogance.
Why do you love arrogance?
Because I'm arrogant.
Are you?
And I think the world could use some more arrogance.
But Adam, isn't this whole story an illustration of where arrogance will get you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah. And also how fucking dumb boat rides are. I mean, now we have those fucking cruises that are a million times bigger. Like, have you seen a side-by-side with, like, a Disneyland cruise versus the Titanic? They're monstrous.
Wait, have you been on a cruise?
No, never.
Me either.
You couldn't pay me to get on a cruise. I don't want to get on a fucking boat with a bunch of fat fucking drunk people.
What?
Because it's just stinky and gross and you're stranded.
Stinky, gross, and stranded. I've never heard a cruise talked about that way. Usually it's like, it was so amazing. No, stinky, gross, and I was stuck. Anyways, back to my research. So anyways, everybody's lulled into the sense of calm. Everybody thinking it was unsinkable. So, let's skip ahead. So they departed on the 10th. On April 14th at 11:40 p.m., the ship was traveling at 20.5 knots. Looked it up. That's 25 miles per hour. So today that's like, oh, that's fucking slow. At the time, they had 2 engines. This was top speed. And here's something you need to know too. Captain Smith, who was the captain of the Titanic, I think this was his 4th maiden voyage of a major ship. So he was like a seasoned captain at this point. He's like ready to retire. After this maiden voyage of the Titanic, he was going to retire. He had been through this so many times, and he'd gone through the Atlantic, so he knew what was at stake. Like, he knew icebergs were there. He knew all of this stuff. But in his mind, it's unsinkable. So anyways, the ship is traveling at 20 knots.
Who originally deemed it as unsinkable?
the architect of the Titanic.
So the drunk Irish.
No, actually, you get to read about him.
Oh, good.
He was a passenger of the Titanic, and you're going to read about him.
Oh.
So we'll come to him later. But he was definitely the one telling everybody, yo, this is unsinkable.
I like this guy. Fucking arrogant asshole.
Actually, I think you will like this guy when you read about him.
Did he survive?
So, no, he did not.
Good.
But
Good.
the director of the White, what's it called? White Star Line.
I thought you were going to say White Castle.
The director of White Castle hopped off and then lived until the 90s. That's actually a really cool story idea.
No, it's not.
Okay. Anyways, I want you all to picture this. It's the 14th. Okay? Close your eyes.
Of?
The 14th of April, 1912.
April Fools.
No, that's the 1st of April.
Oh, shit.
You fool.
April Fools.
Okay, picture your first class passenger. Okay, close your eyes.
I'm getting laid.
No, first you're at a party.
I'm definitely getting laid.
Yes, you're definitely getting laid, but you're eating like 8-course meals.
Yes.
And
do they have hamburgers yet?
Sure. Yes. Let's say there's hamburgers there. The captain, the crew comes in to mingle with you a little bit. You ask, how fast are we going? Like, you're asking normal questions. Like, when do you think we're going to get into New York?
I'd be asking when the strippers are coming.
And he would say, at midnight.
Yes.
But, like, everybody thought that everything was great. Then, on the evening of April 14th, precisely at 11:40 p.m., the ship was... the ship hit an iceberg. Now it was...
Crash!
No,
boom!
This is the craziest part. Everybody who has survived has said that what they experienced was just the ship stopping. Like a slow stop.
One of the big questions that history has always had that I think you need to answer for our people.
Okay. Was
the captain Asian?
No.
Okay.
Why is that a question?
Bad driver?
Bad driver. That's right. No, his name was Captain Smith.
Hey, I've seen some Smiths that were Asian descent.
So I've looked up pictures of him today. He was not Asian. I'm so sorry.
Was he secretly a woman?
You know, that's actually a really good question. He could have been. He could, because I also, okay, this is side
Sir,
story.
I think there's an iceberg. Shut the fuck up, I'm PMSing right now.
He was on his period. Anyways, okay. So, the ship hit the iceberg on her starboard bow. So that's towards the top. If you think of the ship as having a top and a bottom, it hit it towards the top of the ship.
Not the poop deck.
Not the poop deck. No.
The best deck.
Yeah. So, think about this. It hit the iceberg at 11:40. Then at 2:28 a.m., she sinks. Now...
Oh, this was in the morning?
Yes.
Shit.
So...
I would be out.
But here's the thing. When she hits and she stops, the architect of the Titanic is talking to everybody. I don't know who he's talking to. He's talking to somebody. And he's like, listen, the way the Titanic is designed, she will not go down. We're going to be fine. So nobody until, I can't even remember what time it was. It was later that they were like, okay, maybe we should start getting people on lifeboats. Even when they hit the iceberg.
He's stopping people as it's going down. No, it's totally fine. It'll come back up. It's unsinkable. I'm not drunk.
No, like literally, they did not understand the position they were in until it was way too late. But we'll get to that. So, listen to this.
I'd be that guy, like, looking at my watch, looking over the side, like, I think we're going down.
And everybody's like, we're unsinkable. What are you talking about?
No, I'd be the dumb idiot. Everybody would be like, shut the fuck up, Adam.
I think you would make things a lot easier. Like, you would be so funny that people are like, oh, I'm gonna die. It's fine.
Okay.
Like, you have a very calming presence. I think you would calm people down.
Oh, good. Yeah, we want people calm as they're dying.
Yeah, you don't want to die panicked, right?
Well, you want adrenaline going through your body if you're about to die.
That's true, because you are going into...
life or death.
Yeah.
You gotta, like, keep yourself up. I would be terrible at that time.
Really? You think so?
Yeah. If that's what you're saying, that I'd calm people down. Like, no. People who aren't getting on lifeboats, they need to have their adrenaline up and get on, like, something.
That's a good point. You do need to have your adrenaline up, especially because you're going to be plunging into Atlantic water.
How cold was the water? Did you look that up?
It was below freezing.
Okay.
So what is freezing? It's like 30 degrees? No.
30
degrees Fahrenheit. So that's freezing level.
35.
35 degrees.
I think it's 35.
I think you're right. So 35 degrees is freezing level. It was below that. I don't know the exact temperature because I don't think they checked. But we can look at now. Of course it's going to be different.
Global warming.
Global
it's
warming.
Probably 80 degrees. It's just beautiful.
It's like hot water. Okay. But just so you know the position of the ship. So remember, so here's something that you need to keep in mind when you think about this. So the Titanic was bound from England, Belfast, of course, Ireland at the time. It was England. No, I'm sorry, it was England. It was Northumberland, England to New York. The captain knew to look out for icebergs. So what he did was he took a more southern route to try to swerve past a lot of these icebergs. So he thought he was being smart. He was trying to
do a zigzag motion?
Yeah, exactly. He was trying to bypass a lot of the icebergs. But
wait, if they thought it was unsinkable, why not just plow the fuck through all of them?
That's a good question.
That's what I would do.
That's a good question.
That doesn't make any sense. Why is he being so cautious if he thinks it's unsinkable?
That's a good question.
Unless it's all a fucking hoax.
See, here's the thing. Everybody was jamming this down every American, English, whatever have you, their throat. This ship is unsinkable. Not only is it unsinkable, it's super fast, super luxurious. It costs millions of dollars, and we're going to get you from England to New York faster than you think you're going to get there. However...
Well, that's not very hard. Back then, they're like, oh, it's going to be a couple months till we're there. So if you get them there a day early, it's like, oh, what am I going to do with this extra day?
What would they do with an extra day?
I don't know, jerk off in an alley. That's all they can do.
Like John Jacob Astor, this millionaire's jerking off in an alley.
He's so happy about it, too. I got a whole day of this.
He's so excited. That's so funny. Anyways, so just so you know where this is, and this is important because we didn't discover the wreckage of the Titanic until the 80s. We didn't know where it was. But she sank, so she took a southern route, but she sank approximately 13.5 miles southeast of the position from which her distress call was transmitted. And here's something that's really tragic. So
she was moving with a current, probably.
Yeah.
And that's what took it down.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay.
But that's such a long way, that makes sense. Why it was that far off course.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was thinking, that Smith was thinking, let's dodge these fucking icebergs. So he was kind of being a smart but idiot man.
A smart idiot.
He was a smart idiot.
What do I keep on calling your son?
Which one?
Armin.
Armin?
Arrogantly incorrect. Is that what I said? No, sorry. Confidently incorrect.
Confidently. I love that. That is totally Smith.
It's totally your son, too.
It's definitely Armin. Okay, so listen to this, though. 1,522 people, including passengers and crew, were lost to the sea. That means that there were only 705 survivors. So, think about this. They are escaping to a frosty fate. But here's another thing. I listened to this directly from some survivors, particularly a crew member. There were some people that were so convinced that the ship wasn't going to sink, they didn't leave their estate rooms. They didn't leave their fucking rooms because they thought the ship wouldn't sink.
What, as it's going
down?
They're fucking sideways? No way. No way. Water's filling up. Nuh-uh.
Exactly. I don't understand it. But, I mean, if you... I really don't understand it. I have no explanation for that, but that's what happened. Okay, so 705 survivors. Here's something we have to talk about.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's how many people survived?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How many people were on it?
So there are 2,227.
That's actually a good percentage of people that survived.
So here's the thing.
What is that? 35%?
Did you just do that in your brain?
Yeah, roughly. 30-ish percent.
That's impressive.
Well, it's just 2,000 and then 700.
I can't do math.
So 1,000, 700 is 70% of 1,000. Cut that in half. That's how much it is of 2,000.
Oh,
35.
Oh my gosh, Adam. Okay, we're gonna come to that. So.
Drunk math.
So with only 705 survivors, this meant that 1,500 souls were lost at sea. And so, like, they're lost in the ocean, right? Here's something that's very interesting. Most of their bodies were discovered in Canada. And a lot of their resting places are in Canada.
God.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Why does that suck?
Don't bury me in Canada.
I'm gonna do it.
That's what you're gonna do if you hated me.
Why? Explain. You have to explain.
Because everybody hates Canada.
I don't hate Canada.
Canada sucks.
Why does Canada suck?
It just does. Just they're all fucking nice assholes.
That's Justin Bieber. He's a nice asshole.
Ew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you saying he has a nice asshole?
Yes.
Or he is a nice asshole?
He has a nice asshole.
That you've seen?
I've never seen it, but I'm assuming.
I'm assuming you saw it when he was much younger.
Please don't say that. I am not a pedophile. Please don't think I am. Adam? Okay, let's go back to this. Okay. So this, as Adam's talking about, like, what did you say? It was 35%?
30-ish percent.
Okay, which you're spot on. Let's go into this. I got these statistics from businessinsider.com. Okay, this is a direct quote. For the most part, most of the well-known people on board were first-class passengers. Duh.
I was thinking it was more like 100 people survived.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, I think that's kind of like what I was thinking too, like when I was younger.
Like not a lot of people actually
made
it off?
Because the way they talk...
Is that the movie?
I don't know if they even... I guess they do kind of talk about it a little bit. But like, you know, all the scenes where everybody's dying, it just seems like it's a fucking...
catastrophe.
Yeah. But if you think about it, 705 people surviving that is pretty good.
Yeah.
For 1912?
For everything that was going on, all the assholes sitting in their bunks, still saying it's not going to sink.
Seriously, that's a good point. No, seriously.
And then all the poor assholes that got locked in the dungeon while the thing was sinking.
Now I'm picturing them like, you're too poor, you gotta die.
Yeah, that's what happened.
It is what happened. Oh, but anyways.
Alright, seal this one up. There's nobody important over here.
Wait, what's your name? Oh no, you're going down. Okay.
Joseph Smith.
You gotta get out of here. You're important.
Wait a minute. So, yeah, would he have been around at this time?
No, he died way before this.
When did he die?
So he died in the 1830s. He was born in 1805.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this was
1912.
Okay, never mind. Wait.
So, just for a little bit of reference, this is even before the First World War. So remember how that war was fought in the trenches because there was so fucking, what's that called? They had such a lack of technology. Remember this when we talk about all that's going on with the Titanic. Where did my notes go? Oh, here they are.
World War I was when tanks were first invented.
You're right. Okay, so Adam, I'm gonna.
We need to cover World War I and II.
We're gonna do 2 episodes. I want you to read
that's
that.
when I can. Wait, I have all these pages.
But I'm gonna take a shot. So
Okay, Jesus.
So will you start, please, with... Wait. Actually, I'll just read it. We pour that from... Okay. So, for the most part, most of the well-known people on board were first-class passengers. And this is a researcher. His name is Chuck Annecy. He crunched the numbers, breaking down the demographics of the survivors. This is really disgusting. People, listen to this. Of the survivors, he found that 97.22% of the 144 female first-class passengers were rescued. So remember how we talked about it was women and children?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that means that there were hardly any men who were rescued. It was mostly...
Wait, only 104 women
So
survived?
of the 144 female first-class passengers. So of that...
Okay, you broke that down kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm kind of tipsy. Okay. Now, Adam, I'm going to have you start off where you see where it says 144 female.
First-class passengers were rescued, while only 32.57% of their 175 male counterparts were saved. So that's like the amount of people overall.
Yep.
Ultimately, he found that male second-class passengers fared worse in terms of survival, with only 14 out of 168 making it out alive. The total survival rate for women was 74%, while the male survival rate was 20%.
Keep reading.
Here are 12 of the most famous victims of the Titanic disaster and prominent people who survived.
Actually, we're not going to do all 12. We're just going to do... That's where you start reading this.
Oh.
So, let's have you... Yeah, actually, can you read all of that, please?
Jesus. What am I, the fucking research guy now?
Yes.
Why the Titanic has seen a symbol of luxury. Was seen as a symbol of luxury. 325 first-class passengers. Most expensive suite cost $4,500.
Oh, wait, I already went over that. I'm sorry.
Oh, great.
Start there. I'm sorry.
Survivor stories calm night, clear skies. Order women and children. People were afraid not many passengers boarded the lifeboats. It was a 70-foot drop into the sea, and people thought Titanic was unsinkable.
So that's kind of what we were talking about before. So here, let's set the scene a little bit. So the crew was ordered to start getting people into the lifeboats, right? First, they were ordered to get women and children. But a lot of people saw that it was a 70-foot drop into the cold waters. And they were too afraid to get on the boat. So a lot of the people who were able to get into the boats were like, hell no, I'm not doing it. So that's another reason why a lot of people died. They were too afraid. So in the movie Titanic, they show the crew as just being like, oh, we're just not going to get as many people on. That's not what happened. What happened, and this is straight from a crew member who survived. He said people were too afraid to get on the lifeboats. So they were not filled to capacity. So there were 20 lifeboats. And they were... So based on the math, it would have been at least 800 people who could have survived had they gotten more people onto the lifeboats. But let's assume 100 of those people were too afraid to get on. Okay.
Well, yeah, you said 800 instead of 500. So 300.
No, it was 700 that survived. But I think about 10 of those were...
Well, this says they would have saved 800 instead of 500.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
assuming
right.
because more people survived off of life.
So what happened was... Okay, here's another thing.
Wait, that means 200 people survived just in the ocean?
Yeah, so here's what happened. So when people got onto the lifeboats, some of the lifeboats insisted on going and grabbing people out of the ocean, right? So a couple of the lifeboats went over and they were pulling people out of the ocean. But they would have gotten 800 had they filled the boats to capacity. People are too scared to get on the boats.
Like after they're in the water?
No, before.
Oh, okay. Still, it's so dumb.
They were told for so long that the ship was unsinkable, and they believed it. And they had seen all of these newsreels and like all the statistics that this ship was built so with so much steel and so much ingenuity that there was no way it would go down, and they believed that. Anyways, okay, can you go ahead to... Yeah, there, sorry. And then you're gonna...
From YouTube video, the last 7 survivors tell their story. Captain knew icebergs were breaking, so Titanic took a southern route to avoid April 14th. Titanic recovered first of several ice warnings. You kind of already covered that.
Yeah, sorry.
Died. John Jacob, ancestor.
I love how you said that.
His family built the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York.
Which is extremely iconic.
Millionaire. He was worth nearly $87 million at the time, $2.21 billion in today's dollars. You couldn't figure out how much the other numbers were?
Something important to me.
He was the richest passenger on board the Titanic.
But also, he was the richest man in the U.S.
Well, not anymore. I mean, he died.
Yeah. Before he died, he was the richest man in the U.S. So, like, him going on the ship was a big deal.
Okay. Died. Thomas Andrews, the architect of the Titanic.
Okay, you're going to read this whole thing, okay?
No ordinary Titanic victim. The longtime Harland and Waldorf employee designed the ship itself. He traveled on the Titanic's maiden voyage in order to observe the ship and make recommendations on areas where the ship could be improved. When an iceberg damaged the Titanic's hull, Andrews immediately knew it was doomed to sink. According to the BBC, the 39-year-old shipbuilder then began helping women and children into the lifeboats. The BBC also reprinted a telegram from the White Star Line, which noted that when the last seen officers say was throwing overboard deck chairs, other objects to people in water. His chief concern, safety of everyone but himself.
Okay, let's pause for a second. Sorry, Aries was like going to town on my face. So he is featured heavily in the 1997 Titanic movie. And the way they depicted him in the movie was almost entirely accurate. So, okay, you're going to talk about Ismay in a minute. And he was... Ismay, yeah. So he's going to come up in a minute. But here's the difference. So, Andrews not only was very involved in, of course, the architecture of the Titanic.
I don't like reading, by the way.
You do such a good job. You have a good voice.
I'm better unscripted.
Why is she licking me so much? I can't get her to stop. Anyways, so Andrews in the movie is seen as a hero, which is 1,000% true. So he is telling passengers from the time they leave Northumberland? Yeah. England. So from the time they leave England to the time that they sink, he's telling everybody, listen, I built this ship to be unsinkable. But then when he realized, and like even when it hits the iceberg, he's telling everybody, listen, it's fine. We are double-breasted. We are going to be fine. And then when he sees the errors of his ways, he goes down with the ship. But before he goes down with the ship, he is helping everybody else. He doesn't care about himself. So just keep that in mind.
Well, yeah, it's his fucking fault.
It is his fucking fault.
So he's trying to save face.
That's a horrible thing to say.
Remember me like this. Of course, nobody did.
I can't be. Remembering. That was really fun. Okay. Do you see where it says Ismay?
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Okay. Now, this is the contrast. So Ismay is the director of the White Star Line, right? Is that what it says?
It says, Ismay may have survived the sinking of the Titanic, but he never lived down the public scorn he received in the wake of the disaster. The White Star Line managing director was the highest-ranking company official to survive the disaster. He boarded 20 minutes before the ship sank into the Atlantic. He later said he turned away as the Titanic slipped beneath the surface of the water, saying, I did not wish to see her go down. I am glad I did not.
So look at that. Listen to this. So the architect went down with the ship. Not only did he go down with the ship, he tried to save as many lives as he could. The director tried to save face. Now, there's a lot of chatter that he was the one that tried to get the Captain Smith to go faster to get to New York sooner. And
so he's the villain.
He is the villain. Not only is he the villain, but he's
picturing him in like an overcoat, all blacked out, emo hair, toupee, just kind of grinning in the corner.
I think you're right. I think that's exactly what he looked like. He's grinning in the corner. He gets in the ship.
Yes, yes, faster, faster.
You know what? I think you're 100% right. But here's the thing, like, if he got there faster, he would get more people booked onto the next voyage of the Titanic. So he didn't give a shit, like, what happened to anybody. All he cared about was money. And at the end, you see, that's what he cared about. He cared about himself and money. Now, let's talk about the possibilities of why the Titanic went down. So, as we talked about, the way the Titanic was built, the architect was a genius, especially in his time. Double-breasted, 2 engines. So, the Titanic was built to survive disasters. Like, the way that it was, and like, it was built to take in water. So, it was built so that if it was hit with an iceberg, it would take in water and it would be fine. Because they had so the way that it was built, like the bottom decks, if it filled with water, it would be fine. But let's talk about why did it go down then, right?
What? It did.
It did go down. But the way that it was designed, that's a better word. The way that it was designed was to be okay if a disaster happened. Okay, so like if it hit an iceberg, it should have been fine. That's important to note for the future. So, yeah, it was built to survive disasters. So after inspecting the damage, Andrews was confident it would not sink. But 2 hours later, she sunk. There was a fire that took hold in the boiler rooms in boiler room 6, directly behind where the iceberg struck. So, and this is something that a surviving crew member, talked about. There was a fire that took place in boiler room 6, and guess what? This fire took place in Belfast. So before it even left port, this fire was going on, and it was such a big fire they couldn't put it out, but it was contained. So they thought, oh, you know what? This ship is so big. We have 2 steel breasts. It's going to be fine. But during the inquiry, so here's what happened. After Titanic sunk, there were 2 inquiries that took place. One in England and then one in America. And let's talk about that a little bit.
And America was like, no, we don't give a fuck.
What?
British ship, it went down.
Exactly, like it's not our fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, this fire was discovered before even leaving Belfast. Keep that in mind. So, this is the maiden voyage of this major...
And then Britain was like, it was full of fat fucking Americans, that's why it went down.
They weighed it down. No, I actually, you know what? That's such a good point. Like, America was like, it's the fucking English people, like, blah, 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 blah. And the English people like, no, it's the fucking Americans.
But remember, this whole thing, it was the drunk Irish fault for building it so shitty.
I think that's so funny, just picturing all these Irish drunk people like, it was like not even built, right? But this is something so I've been researching the Titanic since I was like 12.
This door is upside down. It is... No. This is the new upside down doors. This is the new thing. You just got to step up a little.
You're so funny. That's so true. They're like, no, this is new. It's beautiful. Just go with it.
It's
unsinkable.
fancy.
It's fancy. But that's a good point. Like, see, that's the whole beauty of the... Well, I guess it's not beauty, but that's the whole thing. It's like, it was built in England, and Americans were like, oh, it's the English's fault. And the English were like, no, it's not our fault. Listen, this is all that we did. It's not our fault.
Well, I agree with America. It wasn't our fault at all.
I agree with America, too. You're 100% correct. Now, listen to this, though. So, remember this fire. So, Titanic was too large. It was way too big. Like,
fucking British people trying to blame it on us. This is why they're the worst country in the world.
But that's
their fucked up teeth.
Listen, that's where I want to go above everywhere else. I want to go to England.
That's why it's a good mix, because Colleen loves British people, and I fucking hate them.
Do you remember when you left that sticky note on my TV that said British TV shows suck?
Mm-hmm.
That made me laugh for like 2 days straight. I took a picture of it. I don't know why you hate British people, but it's so funny.
They're so annoying and behind the times. Nobody drinks tea.
Have you ever had tea?
No. I'm straight.
You've never had like a chai latte?
No.
I can't even picture you drinking a tea, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I feel like if somebody brought you a tea, you'd like smack it out of their hands.
Now, for our younger brother, Brian.
Yeah.
You can picture him drinking one.
He loves tea.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gay.
Gay.
Gay. You make me laugh so much. Okay.
Not that there's anything wrong against gay people.
There's nothing wrong.
We love them.
We love gay people. Titanic was too large. Containing the fire was impossible. The crew was told not to tell anyone about the fire. This fire was never contained. So, just remember that, okay? So, let's go back to this. Okay. So, it's 8:30 p.m., right? Okay, they're partying. It's great.
8:30 a.m.?
p.m., sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, Jesus.
So, this is the 14th.
It's a crazy party. Every time I'm up at 8 a.m. from the night before, I'm just like, I made some bad decisions.
What kind of decisions?
Well, it depends on the night. Weed. Usually weed. Or a woman.
Wait, why would a woman be a bad decision?
Because she's keeping me up. Asking me stupid questions.
Like what?
I don't know. Like, what kind of pants do you like? Just dumb shit. I don't know.
What kind of pants? Wait, Adam, what kind of pants do you like?
Incorrect. I like shorts.
I'm just picturing a girl like keeping you up at 8. What kind of pants do you like? You're like, fuck you!
There was this one chick that I was up that late with, and she was literally just asking me dumb questions, and I'm trying to go to sleep. Thinking about getting her an Uber just to get her home.
You are so... Wait.
Like, I gotta work tomorrow. Just shut the fuck up.
You're thinking about getting... You were hilarious, but I feel like I should slap you.
I don't think you could reach me.
I would never slap you, honestly. You're my favorite. Don't tell
It wouldn't hurt.
Don't tell any of the other siblings that, but you're my favorite sibling.
I already told them all.
Oh, damn.
That's why Chris and Carrie hate you.
Those are our sisters. Okay, but this is very important to note. Okay, so this is one thing I want you to think. Okay, close your eyes. Imagine you're on the Titanic, right? But at this time, imagine you're a member of the crew. Okay? It's 8:30. All of the first class passengers are partying. Like, they have the band playing. It's amazing. You go out and you're like, let me check the night. Let me see how it's going, right? It is a clear night. You can see the stars. There is nothing to indicate something is going wrong. Except...
Nobody would notice this body.
Who are you gonna kill?
This dumb bitch that's talking my ear off right now.
Wait, is she from first, second, or third class?
Oh, she's lower class. No one will miss her.
Listen, if you killed a third class passenger, nobody would know.
I heard this place is sinking. I'm just gonna lock her in a room.
That's so messed up. You're just locking. You totally could have. Fuck you, Adam. That's messed up. Okay, anyways, let's go back to this. Okay. So the visibility is clear. This is 8:30 p.m. And mind you, they do have two men posted in the... What's that called where it's up high?
The observe...
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay, this is something to keep in mind too. So...
Observatory?
In the inquiries, remember how I told you there were two? One thing that people were such sticklers for was that there was no binoculars on the Titanic.
It'd be funny if, like, Mexico also did one. It was just, like, them in a boat, like, rowing up to the scene. And then their report comes out, like, 30 years later. It's like, we didn't find anything.
Mexico's just like, me too. I'm sorry. They're like, me too. That's so funny. Why didn't, like, Canada do an inquiry? Because, like, the bodies...
Because all these bodies were showing up, and they're like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this shit.
They're just like, fuck it, you two figure it out.
That's literally how Canada is. They do not do anything.
All these bodies show up and like, meh.
Not our problem.
They just bury.
That's ocean land.
Not our problem. You guys deal with it.
Talking to the ocean.
You suck, ocean. You kill those.
So, this is a very, very off-topic thing, but just to show how Canadians don't do their jobs, there's this serial killer named Robert Picton in Canada. He used to kill hookers, chop them up, and put them into, because he was a pig farmer, he used to put it into sausage, and that would be shipped all over the U.S. and Canada. And the fucking Canadian police did not think to stop production years after knowing that people were in that sausage. And this was recent.
What?
This was recent. I want to say like 2003 or something like that. It was pretty recent. So if you were alive around that time, and ate sausage, you may be a cannibal.
Yeah, so the Canadians suck. Anyways, that makes me sick because I was definitely alive at that time.
Yeah.
We got sausage.
We ate sausage a lot.
A lot. Fuck that
It was
guy.
like every Friday.
No, seriously, we did.
Because it was cheap.
And
it fed a lot of...
That was Dad's, like, favorite thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Ring bologna and beans.
Oh my gosh, Adam, we might have ate people.
We probably ate people.
Okay, so I don't throw up, let's go back to this.
Isn't that cool?
That's so scary. Why is that cool?
I might have eaten human.
You like that?
Well, I mean, I didn't do it on purpose, so...
But why do you like that idea? I have to hear.
I don't know, it just makes me seem, like, edgy.
I ate a person. Do you
Like,
think
if
I'm
someone...
edgy?
If someone asks me that on a date, like, have you ever eaten person? I could be like, maybe.
Wait, who the fuck would ask you that?
The right kind of woman. She's asking the right questions. If that ever comes up, that means the date's going right.
Okay, listeners, this is what... I can't even word this. Adam wants that to be one of his first questions on a first date. Adam, if somebody asks you that on a first date, you should run. Okay? Don't like that.
No, that means they're interesting. It's so much better than...
I can't breathe.
What's your favorite holiday? Oh, what's your favorite season?
Have you ever ate a person? And then Adam's like, you're the type to bring home to my mama. Oh my gosh, Adam, why?
'Cause.
Okay, let's go back to the Titanic. Okay, so anyways, we go back to, it was visibly clear. So they're going at 20 knots. So that equals 25 miles per hour. So that's pretty much top speed. Like, you could go a little bit above that, but it's pretty much top speed. So the captains not only of the Titanic, well, he's dead, but the captains of other luxury...
Well, he's dead.
I'm sorry. That was very callous of me. He's dead.
Dun dun dun.
He's dead. Anyways, so other captains. So imagine we're in these inquiries. Other captains of other luxury cruise ships, not cruise ships, liners. So this is the thing. Everybody was trying to get where they wanted to go as fast as they could. So pretty much anybody who was a captain was going as fast as they could. So that means they were going 25 miles per hour through the Atlantic. So Captain Smith going that fast was not unheard of. Like, other captains were going that fast. So...
Wait, I thought you said it was the fastest ship.
It was the fastest ship. Not only was it the fastest...
How are other captains going that fast then?
Well, okay, I'm sorry, you're right. Like, they weren't going 20 knots, but they were going at their top speeds. So remember how I talked about how it was like the transatlantic railroad? That's what they called it. They were going...
But it wasn't a railroad.
It wasn't a railroad, but they called it that because of how...
Because they're stupid.
They are stupid. But that's because how many people were going...
Could you imagine riding a train on the ocean?
No.
That would take forever.
How could you imagine that? Wait, how would that even work?
Well, they do that one thing where it's under the ocean. Where do they do that?
Is that in Korea?
I thought it was Japan.
It's Asia.
That would be awesome.
But why would you even think of doing that? Why?
Putting a train under the ocean?
Yeah, that just seems like a bad idea.
Sounds badass to me.
But it sounds like such a bad idea. But anyways, let's go back to this.
It is unsinkable.
Because it's already sunk. Okay. So, just keep in mind, at these inquiries, other captains were basically saying, like, the captain didn't do anything wrong. Like, the skies were clear. He was going full speed. We would have done the same thing. So, having said that, one reason that the Titanic left Belfast with only 20 lifeboats was because they knew that there's such traffic. There were so many other liners that were going in that same direction. Or, you know, the opposite direction. There was just so much traffic in that area that they were like, if anything happens, there's a ship not that far away that can come and save us.
Wait, it could have held more than 20 boats?
It could have. And it should have. So here's another thing. Since the Titanic...
But it wouldn't look nearly as fancy. So...
No, that's so true. That is exactly right. They got rid of a lot of the lifeboats needed because
They should have got rid of all of them. I mean, this thing is unsinkable. Why the fuck do we have boats? That's what I would have done if I was the arrogant
If
asshole.
you were Captain Hildebrandt instead
Yeah,
of Captain
I would have been,
Smith.
no fucking boats. This is not sinking. If it is sinking, which it's not, and we're back. Colleen had to take a piss.
A pea.
A piece.
Let's go back to... Okay, we were talking about how high traffic this zone was. That transatlantic ship route. So, when the Titanic was being built, that's what they kept in mind. Like, we don't need more than 20 lifeboats. There's so many people that can come and help us. But listen to this. No.
What they should have had was spikes.
Where?
How cool would that have been? All over. Just fucking spikes. Hey, if you think about that, that would have broken up the iceberg.
Like Eris's collar that you want to get?
Yeah. Just a spike collar around the Titanic.
Actually, you're a genius. That really would have helped. Because it would have, like...
Would have cracked it?
It would have cracked it. Why do not more ships do that?
Well, they don't need it now.
You're right. Okay, listen to this, though.
They've got sonar, shit like that.
It's so weird how, like... Well, I guess it's not weird. But thinking from 1912 to now, how far we've come. Like, not only with technology, but with communication. So, this is something I learned, too. There were probably, like, two cameras. 2 cameras on board the ship. That's it. The only...
Oh, like portable.
Yeah, the only surviving...
I went straight to, like, CCTV, like, installed. Like, wait, what the fuck?
Like Zach, what's his face?
What?
Bagans? Is that his name?
What? No, I'm talking about security cameras.
Oh! I have security.
Just, like, on the front and back. With night vision.
They're watching all the drunk people walking around. But they can't stop the Titanic from shipping.
Sinking?
Sinking. They can't stop it from shipping. Okay, but wait, let's go back. So, remember how high traffic this area is. So one thing that's really great about the high traffic area is that each ship is equipped with the telegraph. So, it's like a common courtesy, I think it's a law at the time, to alert other ships.
Oh, I love this part. This is the one part she told me about before the episode. I'm actually liking this more and more I hear about it. Just how arrogant they were. How confidently incorrect they were. It's actually turns out to be a pretty good story.
You like that?
Yeah, I love that. That's like the best type of person.
You love Titanic!
No.
I tried to high five him and he said no. Okay.
I still hate it off of principle.
Now that I know you've never seen it, next time we get drunk, we're watching the whole movie. You can have a bitch and I'll leave the room.
No, I'm definitely not watching it then.
Listen, if you're drunk, there's no way you can say no. You'll be like,
I'm not a whore. I can say no.
I doubt you can. You are a whore. You are 1,000% a whore. And I love you. Anyways. So.
Thanks, sis.
You're welcome, brother. So here's the thing. Remember how we talked about the high traffic area? Well, other ships who had been in that same course kept alerting the Titanic to the icebergs that were close to it. So, like, this is an example from the SS America. So they alerted the Titanic to locate actual coordinate locations of actual icebergs. So there was a party going on that night, remember? So a lot of people, especially in the first and second class groupings, were very busy. And then the crew, of course, would go in and kind of fraternize with them. But like an hour before the Titanic went down, 3 large icebergs that were really heavy were seen, right? So, I'm sorry, the Titanic, so a lot of different ships, like, it wasn't even just one, it was many ships were alerting the Titanic, like, hey, there's heavy ice, we've passed, like, such and such iceberg, like, maybe be careful, and listen to what the Titanic said back. And this...
Can I read this?
Yes. Do you see what it is? And this is a direct quote.
Shut up, bitch. I'm busy.
That's a direct quote, people.
I was a little colorful with the bitch part, but might as well have said it.
That's literally what they said, though. Like, they were like, shut up, we're busy. And this was, like, many different ships.
That's like most of my text messages.
No, you don't say that, right?
Yeah.
You're the Titanic telegrapher.
Yep.
You were like...
New phone, who dis? That's what they should have said.
New phone. They're just trying to warn these people. Hey, there's icebergs. They're like, shut up. We're busy. That's so fucked up.
The dude was probably trying to get laid.
You know what? He
like,
probably
took a
was.
chick back to the telegraph room and...
Like, yeah.
She's starting to go down south.
Exactly. Like,
this, shut the fuck up!
I think you're right. Like, legitimately, why else would he be so pissed? Like, why else would you say, shut up, I'm busy?
That or just sheer arrogance. Like, we're not going to sink. Shut up.
Exactly. Like, it is the sheer arrogance. They're thinking in their minds, like, we don't need to take any precautions. We're double-breasted. Leave us alone.
I just love that they said, shut up.
I love that too.
Shut up, peasant.
That's literally what they said. Like, it's so fucking messed up. Okay. So, they responded, shut up. And mind you, the Titanic was now going 2.2 knots. So, that's a little bit over 25 miles per hour. So, it's a little bit faster. So, they increased their speed.
Would have been like 27 or 28.
That's amazing.
It's simple math.
I can't do simple math. But so the ship, okay, but keep in mind, like, this ship weighed 33,000 tons, maybe a little bit more than that. Just picture that, okay? It's going 25 miles per hour, weighing that much. And then also think of
2,000 tons?
33,000 tons. Possibly more.
Because of all the fat Americans.
And their egos, that ass. I'm sure the English people are thinking that, like, all those fucking Americans.
We think it's 300 tons, but, you know, we just couldn't count all the fat asses, as many as were on there.
That was so fucking true. You know they were thinking that. You know 1,000% they were thinking that.
And this was back before they were fat.
You're right. So they're probably, like, eating, like, a tablespoon of caviar, and everyone's like, oh, those fat asses.
Actually, no. Back then, were the British people the fat people? We might have this backwards. Okay, we were throwing a New Age spin on this, but the whole time we should have had that in reverse.
Because, you know, the king... Okay, so... The king before this was so obese.
King Wilford the Redding the Second.
So listen, me and Chris were talking about this recently. So the king that died in 1901, I can't remember his name at the time because I'm drunk, but he literally was
Churchill.
No, that's the prime minister. But you're gonna love the story. Listen, the king before he died. No. He took over the kingship at 1901. I'm sorry. He was so obese that he had a sex chair commissioned for him.
Hell yeah.
It was literally made for him to have sex because he was so fucking fat. That's how fucking fat he was. Yeah. Okay? I'm just saying. I love English people, but you're right on this point. Anyways, let's go back to the Titanic.
I need to invest in one of those.
You need to look it up first. You might not like it. It looks like. Have you ever seen the gynecologist chairs where there's the stirrups?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that, but cushioned, and there's a spot underneath for a bitch to hide, so you could go top and then bottom. He had places for 2 bitches to be at.
Well, duh. He's king. He probably had 14 chicks in there.
Okay, I'm just saying, if I was a man, I wouldn't be. If I was a man, I was king and I was fat. There's no fucking way I wouldn't be able to have 2 bitches at a time.
Why?
Because that's so much energy you have to exert.
All he has to do is sit there.
No, he's the one standing. The bitches are the ones sitting.
Oh.
Exactly.
Wait, so the chair was for them?
Yes.
You made that sound totally different. I was thinking of a chair where there's a headrest down here so she can rest her head while she's blowing him.
You should have been alive at that time to tell him he did it wrong.
Yeah, he's using a lot of energy.
He was morbidly obese. He was fucking fat.
Are you sure it wasn't for him to sit down?
Here's the thing, though, Adam, now that you bring that up. There's so much speculation about this chair that nobody really knows how it was used.
Yeah, I bet it was. If he's super fat, he's not moving around a lot.
But why would there be stirrups, then?
So they can eat his asshole out. He's British, you know he's into that.
I was not prepared for you to say that. And I can't breathe right. He's like, yes. No.
Yes. Yes. Exterminate.
Stop it, I can't breathe.
Of course he was talking about the Jews.
You're killing me. I can't breathe. Okay, hold on. You can't chase me.
I'm wondering when... I don't know why I can't think of when World War I was.
It was in 1914.
14. Okay, so that was 2 years after the Titanic?
Sure was.
Because I was about to ask earlier about U-boats. Was that that wasn't a thing then, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Because U-boats were a byproduct of World War I.
So, as far as my research goes, this was top of the line in 1912.
Do you know what a U-boat is?
No fucking idea.
Okay. A U-boat is the first submarine ever created. It wasn't really a submarine. It was still mostly above land, but it was the thing that killed so many people on the seas in World War I because it was just sinking ships fucking left and right in England.
That sounds fucking scary.
Yeah, it was the Germans.
Especially at that time.
Mm-hmm. They actually built whole divisions just to hunt down these U-boats.
Fuck.
Yeah, they were very effective. That's why submarines became such a big thing.
Well, I'm just thinking of the science of the time and the modern day human. They would have no fucking idea how to deal with that.
What, a U-boat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even know.
They didn't. That's why so many people died.
That's insane.
They're like, what is going on? Because it would just hide. And they wouldn't know what hit them.
They did not know of that technology at that time.
Controversy.
Controversially.
No, controversy.
Controversy.
Or not controversy. This could be a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory.
What if U-boats were actually what did it? The very first U-boat was just training.
See, that's interesting because so many people are so hung up on what actually sunk the Titanic. There's so many different ideas that you know what?
Didn't they find the remains?
Yes, they found the remains.
Wasn't there a giant hole?
So here's the thing. And this is something that scientists later went in and found. And this was around the 80s. It might have been as early as the 70s. But they looked at the wreckage of the Titanic. And this is very interesting, actually. When they were looking at the debris, they found lots of rocks. And this is what they thought. They thought that the iceberg that struck the Titanic... So here's the problem. The way that the Titanic was designed, it was designed to withstand blows from icebergs. That's why when all these fucking people were like, hey, listen, there's an iceberg, they were like, shut up, we're busy. Because they were designed to withstand being hit by icebergs. And that's why there's so many problems with this idea. And that's why there's so many conspiracy theories, so many theories like why the Titanic, why did it sink? Because theoretically, if it was hit by an iceberg, it would have been fine. Anyways, when they went and looked at the debris, they saw rocks, okay? But these weren't just any rocks. These were rocks that were specific to a certain region where the iceberg was. Okay, and this was in Iceland or something like that. So this is the theory.
So you're saying Icelanders did it?
Yes. No, they're saying that there were rocks that were sticking out of the iceberg that cut into that steel. Now, that's one theory. And this is a theory from 1970s. And this is the theory that I actually went into a rabbit hole for because it made the most sense to me.
Rocks?
Rocks.
Do you know what I think it was?
Yes, please.
I think, and this is taking a page from one of my favorite movies, Pacific Rim.
No.
I think it was kaijus.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew.
They were popping through already. And the government is trying to fucking keep it away from us.
No.
Trying to hide the secret that we are being invaded by alien super monsters.
The super monsters were there to sink the Titanic.
Yep. They only got one and got tired and went home.
They're like, oh, this was anticlimactic, but we were done with it. But I think this is why there is so much mystery surrounding the Titanic, because number one, it was like, and it's still listed as like so beyond its time, the way that it was designed, the way that it was built, and there's so many different theories as to why it actually went down, and there's so many different theories of like how it actually built. Like there's a lot of people who think that it was not the iceberg that actually made it go down. But anyways, let's talk about that a little bit. So this 3,000 ton vessel.
Yeah, what about this? The biggest ship, the biggest, fastest ship hit a giant chunk of ice going almost top speed. You don't think that's going to take down a boat?
I think it would. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think there's any conspiracy behind any of this.
No, I don't think there's actually a conspiracy behind it. But what I think was actually what you keep joking about was the arrogance of it. So they were very proud of what they built, and they were very stubborn in the way that they went about it. Like, they were warned so many times, hey, there's icebergs coming, and they kept thinking in their minds, we're built to withstand an iceberg. Who the fuck cares if we hit one? And here's another thing, like, of course, the lookouts were not given binoculars, but they weren't.
What?
But here's another thing that you have to...
Wait, what do you mean, of course?
Of course they weren't. Because at that time, the binoculars were not standardized until, like, after that.
Okay.
So
I thought you meant, like, they were just like, hey, we're missing something. You'll be fine.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Binoculars at the time... So, on a dark night, the best way to see something at night was the naked eye. So if you're looking from, I think it's called the bird's nest. Is that right? So if you're looking from the bird's nest, and this is from, I think about at least 5 different captains of major ocean liners who testified in the inquiries. They all said the best way to spot an iceberg in the dead of night was the naked eye. Binoculars were only used for like close inspections of things that were seen after the fact. So even if the Titanic lookouts were issued binoculars, it wouldn't even fucking, like, made a difference.
Because binoculars at the time weren't good enough to actually spot stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, all of these people who are like, well, the Titanic didn't do this and do this. You have to think that they were going into this situation thinking that they had the best ship. There was nothing that would take it down. And they had 2 lookouts who, by the way, did their job. Like, they testified later. Like, lots of different people testified. Like, there's nothing that was actually done wrong from the lookouts. They did their best.
Wait, did they survive? You said testimonies of the lookouts. Did you mean of people about the lookouts?
Yeah, because not many of the crew actually survived. But it was mostly people who... So there was a couple crew that did survive, and they did testify. And basically, at the end of the day, the people who did testify said that they didn't do anything wrong. So what they were saying was, this is what we had to work with, and actually, the naked eye was the best equipment we had at the time. And it's true. Like, if you're using binoculars in the dead of night, it's not as accurate as the naked eye. You can use binoculars to study something you've already seen.
What about night vision? They didn't have those night vision goggles?
Fuck no. Fuck no, they did not. Okay, so after the iceberg was struck, we talked about how people didn't really feel an impact. They just felt a slow stop, right? And then after that...
so that makes it sound like it didn't actually hit it as much as, like, it scraped it.
Exactly. It was scraped. And see, this is the hardest part of this whole story, is that we're going off of accounts from 1912 coupled with the evidence that we've discovered in like the 80s. So we're piecing together information that is very not only outdated, but it's kind of like what do you call that? Hearsay. Secondhand, exactly. So that's why there's so many theories. It's like there's this unsinkable ship. We struck an iceberg, and then 2 hours later, we're completely sunk. I think this is something we're going to be debating for many years. Like, it's seemingly unsolvable at this time, at this period of time.
Well, it sounds like it's solved.
It
hit an iceberg. It went down. Everybody's an idiot.
Everybody is an idiot. So one thing I did want to talk about, though, are the people that survived that were in the 1997 movie.
Did Jack make it?
Jack did not make it.
Ah, fuck. Did Rose make it?
Rose did make it.
God damn it. Fucking Rose Hernandez.
Rose fucking Hernandez. But I think of all of the research that I've done, the most compelling was the crew member who escaped.
Only one?
There weren't that many.
But you're telling me only one?
Only one that actually became famous. Like, he went on in the 70s and 80s.
Wait, hold up.
Yes.
Only one made it famous, or only one survived?
One made it famous.
Okay.
There were not many crew members that made it. It was like, if you were a crew member, you were going to die. But remember, we talked about that boiler room fire.
That also sucks, because if you're looking for a last minute, rub and tug, all the women are on the boats. So it's a sausage
You
fest.
gotta be gay.
You gotta do a circle jerk.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure happened.
There were no women there. Like, of course that happened.
Except for Harry Margaret. She's in the corner. Hey, I'll let y'all in my whore.
If you're dying, is that really that bad of a choice?
No, I mean, you're gonna die. Doesn't matter what you get from her.
Exactly. Speaking of Margaret, this is one of the people I want to talk about.
Was her name Margaret?
Her name is Margaret.
That's how she survived. I was so full of semen, I floated right to the top.
So great. But you know what? I wouldn't, be surprised if that's what happened.
They all died happy.
Oh my god.
I mean, it did take 3 hours to go down, so that's a fair amount of men.
That's enough men. If you did, 10 minutes with each man, how long would that be? Or how many men would that be?
Well, that'd only be 18.
Only 18?
Yeah, 10 minutes a person.
Fuck, that's a lot of people.
That's 6 an hour.
Fuck, that's a lot of people. Okay, but we're going to talk about the unsinkable Molly Brown.
Well, there was how many still there? So she left a lot of people unsatisfied.
Yeah, she did. 1,500. Those poor bastards.
So yeah, I guess she'd be like, some of them were happy.
At least 700.
And all the guys floating to the shore of Canada with boners with smiles on their face. Thank God for Margaret.
She goes down in history as, what did you call her?
The hairy, dirty hole.
Instead of the unsinkable Molly Brown, that's what we'll call her. So I did
Wait, her name's the unsinkable Molly Brown?
Yes, I want to talk about her for a minute. So, she is in the movie.
No.
Yeah, her character is in the movie.
She's dead.
She's dead now, but she's survived.
Her character is in the movie.
Yes, her character is in the movie. So let's
That was a little confusing when you said she's in the movie.
She's in the movie. She survived and she's in the movie. I'm sorry, guys. Her character's in the movie. So
who is she?
Okay, let's talk about her. So you haven't seen the movie, so this is going to be a little hard to explain to you. But let me just tell you about Margaret Brown. So her husband. So she was grown in the Mississippi.
She grew up.
She grew up in the Mississippi, poor. But her husband's
Don't we all?
Yeah. Her husband struck gold and they became millionaires overnight. So she was an uncultured swine to the people in first class.
Sounding like my depiction was pretty accurate.
It's actually scarily accurate. And
I didn't even know her name.
I've seen pictures of her.
I said Margaret for no reason.
I know. I've seen pictures of her, Adam, and she fits your description 1,000%.
Damn.
Yeah.
I may be psychic.
You don't believe it's psychic? Wait, do you now?
What if I totally didn't believe in it, but I was one?
You're getting messages from the dead and you're like, I don't believe this. But Bill says...
This is bullshit, but let me tell you what your dead aunt wants.
I would probably believe you. I don't believe people who are like, this is what's going on. But if you were like, this isn't true. But I'd be like, I believe you.
Why?
I trust you. Because you're not trying to, change my mind to something. You're just being real. You know what I mean?
Okay. Maybe I should start that.
No, don't. Okay, let's
If you want your psychic reading read by Adam Hildebrandt, message us.
No, don't do that.
It will be inaccurate.
It's going to be him
Confidently incorrect.
And it's going to be you asking for,
that should be the name of this
double
episode.
D chicks. Yes, confidently incorrect. Because that is exactly what everybody involved was. But on our closing note, I do want to talk about Margaret Brown because here's the thing. I grew up watching this movie. I don't know if you remember. So there was a movie
Remember you watching it growing up?
No, I don't remember if you remember watching it. I can't remember what it's called, but it was...
No, I'm sure I had better shit to do.
It was a film, I think it was called The Unsinkable Molly Brown.
Oh, wait. You mean this one? Not the shitty one you watch all the time.
No, this is a different... Not the shitty one I watch all the time.
Okay.
This movie's from, the 50s or something.
I don't remember another one.
So, it's with Debbie Reynolds, who, by the way, is Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia's mom.
She hot?
She's very hot.
She get naked?
Not really. But anyways, so I guess this is what I'm trying to, illustrate to Adam. is that the 1997 movie, of course, is full of bullshit, but there's so much like real information in that movie that it's insane. They bring on so many real characters, so much of the real controversies. That's one reason I love the movie. And so one of the most amazing characters of this whole debacle, I don't know if I want to call it a debacle, was the unsinkable Molly Brown. Now listen, Brown became well known with a penchant for dramatic hats.
Wait, her last name was Brown?
Her last name was Brown. What are you going to say?
She used her brown eye.
She probably did. Because she grew up in Mississippi.
That means she could have done 2 men every 10 minutes.
So it was
bringing
more.
her total up to 36.
That's a lot more.
That's double.
That's double. Okay, so...
Does it say anything about her mouth? Because that could be a whole other person.
The more you hear about this character, the more that actually fits her. Okay, listen to this. So, she was known for social activism on behalf of women and children. But during the disaster, she reportedly helped to row the lifeboat. Like, she helped row the lifeboat when that was an unwomanly thing to do. And she demanded that the group of survivors in her boat row back to the spot where the ship went down in order to look for survivors, which was unheard of by a woman at the time.
Well, she was rowing because she needed to get some cream on her asshole. She just had 18 men in there. She's like, we need to get the fuck to that ship.
She's like, there's so many dicks I need to say. But so this earned her the nickname of the Unsinkable Molly Brown, which was later adopted into the Hollywood movie, which we talked about earlier. But in the movie Titanic, they do show her, and they kind of give her a little bit of justice. But I want you to think about this. At that
Not
time,
as much as I have given her here today.
which is so true. You know what? What did you call her again? Harry Margaret?
Dirty Harry Martin.
She was a brave woman. Yeah, she helped a lot of dicks. She really did.
All that semen.
All that semen. But I think that's just one thing that I really love about the movie is that it brings in so much accuracy and it raises so many questions. But I think like the number one thing that I want people to think about is that of the over 2,000 people that like boarded this beautiful ship, 700 people left alive. And the major thing that I want you to think about is that most of those 700 people were first class passengers, and most of the crew died on the ship. It's pretty sad, and I think it raises a lot of questions today, like the way that society looks at people. Like, if you're worth money, you're worth saving. And I think that's wrong. Adam, take it away.
I disagree.
Okay. Of course.
If you're worth money, good.
You're worth saving.
Yep.
But that's all my research on the Titanic.
Oh my god, it's finally over?
It's finally over.
I never have to hear about this shitty movie ever again?
No, because
31.8%.
That's beautiful. But Adam, now that I know you've never seen the movie, because actually I did not know that before tonight, I'm going to make you watch it.
How did you not know that?
Because I thought you'd seen it.
I talk shit about it all the time.
That's why I thought you'd seen it.
No.
I didn't know you'd never seen it. Now I want to make you watch it.
No, I've seen the beginning a million times and the ending a million times.
You have to
I do not care for the middle fuck shit.
That's the most important. You're calling it fuck shit? That's the most important. That's like the meat of the sandwich.
Yeah, and I reject the sandwich. Send it back. You can do better.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that's all I have for you.
Add aliens and guns. Then I'll watch it.
That's what you said. Yeah. Okay. I will petition for that for you. I don't know who to, but I will.
Nobody's going to listen to you. And I don't even really want it.
Nobody's gonna listen to. That's true. Okay, I love you guys.
All right, that was Titanic. Confidently incorrect. Have a good night.